Well, there is a lot to cover in this particular video, namely SummerSlam and its Fallout show the next night on Monday Night Raw. Gave me a lot of material to talk about, so much so, in fact, that some of it will actually be saved for a video later this weekend, one major topic in particular. But, yeah, with all that said, let's just jump right into SummerSlam. Coming off of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, they set the bar pretty high. I mean, that was a pretty stellar show, especially with the double main event. It was just a big 1-2 punch. It was, just about as good a show as I could possibly hope for. So SummerSlam had a lot to live up to in that aspect. And truthfully, I thought SummerSlam was a good show. Not a great show. And a lot of the things that kept it from being great was just WWE shooting themselves in the foot for no reason. And it's frustrating because it's like, this could have been like a really good show if you just hadn't been stupid. But in any case, let's just go down match by match. Opening match was Randy Orton versus Sheamus. Yawn. I've seen this match 4 billion times, and I don't even know what to say at this point. I've got nothing left to say about Randy Orton and Sheamus matches. I got the same feeling while watching this match that I did when I watched Transformers 4: Age of Extinction. It's just like, what else is there to really say? I can't analyze it. I can't say anything. All I can say is that I was bored out of my skull and I just wanted it to be over. The only cool thing they did was the RKO spot. That was neat, as always. RKO out of nowhere, but that was fun. But other than that, I just didn't care. I guess it's good that the Money in the Bank winner actually got a pay-per-view win, because with Sheamus, they've gone right back into that old school style. A style of booking the Money in the Bank winners where it's like, let's have them lose every match, and then when we do the shock cash-in, it'll shock people. When really, you're just making him look like shit. But Sheamus isn't even really that... He's not really working as a heel anyway. I thought he would, but it's like, it's better than him as a face in the sense that he's not obnoxious, but now he's just boring. And I don't know what you do to fix Sheamus. I really don't. I just don't care. So I've already said more about this match than I probably should have. So moving right along, we got the 4-way tag, New Day versus Primetime Players versus Lucha Dragons versus El Matadors. Really fun match. It was a spot festy type of match that you would expect out of a 4-way tag these days. But what really helped this one stand out is the fact that the New Day is just endlessly entertaining. I didn't know Kofi was a good singer. That's like, oh man. These guys are just really, really, really funny. And they've just taken this really shitty gimmick that they got handed, and they've made it work at a level that I never dreamed was possible. And it works beautifully. And it's just great. And, the whole dancing thing they did after the match when they won was great. I like that they actually kept track of who the legal man was and did the bit with the blind tag at the end. So at least there was some level of tag team psychology going on, more than you usually get out of these type of matches. And overall, it was just fun. I just really enjoyed it. It was a really, really fun match. And the team that probably never should have lost the belts won the belts back, which is perfectly fine. And then, of course, there was the follow-up the next night on Raw, which I have to talk about that. The Dudley Boys made their return to the WWE. I know a lot of people were probably thinking, they're bringing back old guys. And it's like, they keep relying on the past, which, yes, they do. But, some time away was probably good for the Dudleys. I remember by around 04, 05, I was just completely sick of seeing them. And then they went to TNA and kind of revitalized themselves. Then they got boring in TNA. Then they went singles, and Bully Ray became really good. And now they're back in the WWE and got a huge moment to bring them back with, and we'll see if they actually do anything with it. And hey, if they can give a rub to the New Day, if the New Day aren't just fed to them like Tyler Breeze was to Jushin Liger, I think it could be really good and really beneficial. And the tag team division could use a spark. They've got talent, they've got teams. It's just a matter of putting all the pieces into place. It's sort of like the Divas division in that aspect, but that's another topic for another time. But anyways, yeah, I did enjoy the 4-way tag. What was after this? Was it Ziggler and Rusev? Okay, I think it was Ziggler and Rusev next. All I have to say about this is that this is a perfect example of what happens when you take two talented guys and you put them in a storyline that sucks. And basically what the storyline is, it's similar to what Lucha Underground did with Mil Muertes and Phoenix, where, the heel brute has a sexy manager, and he abuses her, and the babyface plays knight in shining armor, and the feud is over the sexy manager or whatever. And the difference here is that Lucha Underground's version of it was actually really well done and had bigger payoffs down the road. This just sucks. This is just, I don't care. I really just don't give a fuck. They've kind of retconned certain things. Like, they say it's like, oh, Rusev bullied Lana and blah, 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 all this other stuff. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure Lana was the one in charge for the majority of Rusev's run. But, they retconned it just to make their story make sense. And it ended on a double count out, which I wouldn't have too much of a problem with if the storyline was actually good. But it's not. So the double count out just tells me, oh, good. It's continuing. Yay! Woohoo! So that's really all there is to say about that. The match was meh, and it's because the storyline's so bad I don't really care who wins, and that's a major problem. It's kind of that Star Wars Episode 1 deal where, that lightsaber fight, a lot of great flips and, fancy lightsaber action and stuff, but if you don't care what they're fighting over, then there's nothing to really invest in. And that's kind of what you got here. It's like, Rusev and Ziggler in most circumstances would probably be a really good match. It's just the storyline sucks, so who cares? Same thing happened to Booker T and Kurt Angle back in the day, 10 years ago. So it happens, what can you do? But, so that happened. Then we got, I believe next was Stephen Amell and Neville versus Stardust and King Barrett, or the Cosmic King Barrett. This was good. I thought Stephen Amell did really well. Obviously he's a wrestling fan and he wanted to participate in the WWE in some way, shape, or form. So he went out there and I thought he did pretty well. He, hit all his spots. He sold for the guys and was willing to actually take a bit of an ass kicking for Stardust and King Barrett. It was basic, good tag team action. Neville got the pin, which I liked. They tried to, give Stardust a little bit of something. They tried to give Neville a little bit of something. And overall, I thought the match worked out okay. And Stephen Amell, for a celebrity working his first match, I thought he looked pretty good in there. So overall, this could have been a disaster. It probably could have been flashier, because if I'm working creative and I'm coming up with ideas for this match, I would have immediately raised my hand and gone, hey, is it possible to get Diggle to do a run-in? I would kind of be okay with that. Can we get the Flash and Black Canary to do run-ins? That would be kind of cool. But do you think we can design like an outfits for Stephen Amell that looks more like the Green Arrow outfit? I mean, he had the hoodie for his entrance, but I would have liked like a really fancy like Green Arrow wrestling style outfit. But but like I said, this match could have easily been a disaster, and it wasn't. It was fun, and guys like Stardust and King Barrett wouldn't have been given anything for SummerSlam anyway. So them being on the losing team of this match is actually more than they probably would have gotten anyway. So take that for what it is. I like the follow-up the next night on Raw where Stardust beat up King Barrett. It was like, it blamed him for the loss. I like that, oh hey, a loss actually caused character development and story development of some time. What a crazy concept. More on that when I get to the Divas. But, this was perfectly serviceable and perfectly fine, so I had no problem with this. Next we got the Shield -1 versus the Wyatt family -1 in a match that you would probably see on every single episode of Raw. Nothing special to report in the SummerSlam match. The next night on Raw, the match they had, I felt, was a lot more impactful just for the fact that they debuted a new Wyatt family member, whose name I've already kind of forgotten. It was Braun Strowson, or I want to say Stromboli, or what's his name? Stromboli from Pinocchio, or Brombone from Sleepy Hollow, both, Disney versions or whatever. But, I don't know, that was what popped in my head when I heard his name. But it was a very impressive debut. He looks big and menacing, and they got him over as being big and menacing and unstoppable. So, I don't know what kind of a worker he is, but as long as you can convey that he's unbeatable, I think you're fine. And especially in the tag team situation, it's like, okay, we kind of rebuilding the Wyatt family here a little bit. Okay, maybe they can do something with this and get past the hump of them, like, basically just, shitting on it and throwing it away for no reason. Now we actually have, like, okay, we're kind of back on track with the Wyatts here. Hopefully they have a plan for this going forward and they don't just job them out at the next pay-per-view. And one has to wonder, are Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose going to get a new partner and kind of form a new version of the Shield? Who knows? It could be fascinating to see. So it's like there's a nugget of an idea there that they can play with. So hopefully it pays off well. So yeah, didn't think much of the SummerSlam match. I thought what happened on Raw the next night was a lot more interesting. What was next? Was it? Next was John Cena versus Seth Rollins. There are things to criticize about this match. It's the same stuff I say about seemingly all of John Cena's matches in this day and age, in recent years anyway, where, all of his matches turn into a finisher fest. All of his matches have him hitting that leg drop that he never beats anybody with, but they treat it like it's a big 2 count. All of his matches have his opponent hitting these really awesome moves that he always kicks out of, so it ruins the move. I mean, Seth Rollins hitting that superplex and then turning it into the Falcon Arrow looked amazing, but Cena kicked out of it, so he ruined it. And it's like, okay, great. I mean, that could be Seth's finisher. I mean, I know they gave him the pedigree, but you want something of his own. I mean, that looked pretty fucking cool, but no, Cena kicked out, so it's already ruined. So, whatever. I mean, not that you can't fix it, but I know it's not going to amount to anything because it's already been kicked out of. So, there's that problem. There's also the problem that Cena has to lose, so they have to protect him by having Jon Stewart be the one to do it. And let me talk about Jon Stewart. The opening bit that he had with Foley was really awkward and weird because it felt like Foley was just shoehorned in there for no reason and didn't really say or do much. He was just thrown out there for the sake of being thrown out there. And Jon Stewart, his character is really odd. For a progressive liberal type, he really does love the old days, where it's like his sole reason for hating Brock Lesnar or being angry with him is that he ended the streak. And I've said this before, Lesnar did not cheat to end the streak. He did not, do anything that any other wrestler shouldn't do to win a match, and yet for some reason he's the bad guy because he ended the streak. And the bizarre morality that the WWE has. And Stewart was talking to Paul Heyman about how it's like, oh, you disappointed all those fans, and oh, all the kids were unhappy, and blah, 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 all that other stuff. I'm like, so what? He was fucking supposed to just lay down and let Taker win and just let him have the streak? Is that what people want? They just want the streak to continue? So as long as the streak continues, they don't care. Lesnar's just supposed to let him win? I don't understand that. It's kind of like, to use a New York Giants example, it's kind of like when that Week 17, the year we beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, but Week 17 we played them with their 16-0 season on the line, and we decided to play our starters. I say we, like I was on the team, but the Giants decided to play their starters and go all out and try to beat them. And the news media just went apeshit all over them and was just like, dude, you shouldn't do that. It's like, and they seem to be saying things like, oh, well, what if Eli gets hurt going into the postseason or whatever? And my mindset was, why wouldn't you go for it? I mean, why should it be easy to go 16-0? I mean, why do you just, lay down and let them have it? And besides, nobody was talking about the Patriots resting their starters because, Tom Brady had to break the touchdown record or whatever and all that stuff. But it's like, the basic vibe that I was getting from the media, the sports media at that time, was, Giants, don't ruin this for us. We want the unbeaten season, so just lay down and let them have it. And they were just kind of like saying things like, oh, what if Eli gets hurt, and blah, 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 and all that stuff, just to kind of, as an excuse to, really, they just didn't want the Giants to ruin it for them. And, whatever. It all worked out in the end. But, in any case, I just think the weirdness of Lesnar being the heel just because he ended the streak, it really makes no sense to me. Because it's like, what, was he supposed to let him win? I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway. And then the next night on Raw, after Jon Stewart screwed John Cena out of the title, his reasoning for it is that he didn't want Ric Flair's record to be tied because you got to maintain the past. And it's like, geez, damn, dude, you're like a hardcore wrestling fan to the extreme. I kind of appreciate it in a weird way, but Stewart's involvement got them some media attention and stuff. I don't know if it's going to be a major angle down the road or anything, but on one hand, you kind of roll your eyes because they have to protect John Cena. And the way they executed it was really bad because you knew Stewart was going to hit Cena. There wasn't a whole lot of mystery there. It wasn't very well executed. But, right guy went over, so I'm not going to complain too much. Thank God Cena didn't win because I don't know if I could have... I don't think I could have lived with another one. But, okay, all of those complaints aside, I really got sidetracked there. I thought the match was very good. I thought Seth looked like a megastar in this match. I thought it was very exciting. A lot of counters, a lot of big moves and everything. And, a lot of the typical Cena bullshit was there. And, there was even a couple sloppy bits from Cena like that The springboard stunner didn't look very good this time, but overall, I thought the match was very good and very exciting, even with some of the typical stuff that I hate from recent John Cena matches. But yeah, and I was happy with the result too. So no harm, no foul. That match was perfectly fine, even with some of the screwiness going on. But moving right along, the next match was the 3-3 elimination tag team match as part of the Divas Revolution, which was not very good. It was kind of disappointing, kind of a drab, dry match. Part of that's probably because they were following one of the main events. I have my other theories on why fans reacted the way they did, both at SummerSlam. Actually, at last week's Raw, when the Sasha-Nikki match got Brock Lesnar a chance, and we want Lesnar and all that stuff. And then the next night on Raw, they got the post-WrestleMania 29 treatment where the fans just showed... They vocally expressed their boredom and their apathy by chanting for everything under the sun except for the women in the ring. There's a lot of reasons for why that happened. I can give my theories on why. That is going to be the main topic of my next video, which will be up this weekend. So, be on the lookout for that. But basically what I'll say is it's not the girls' fault. It's not even the fans' fault. It's the fault lies with creative, and I'm going to analyze why in a future video. It'll be the next video. Will be up this weekend, so be on the lookout for that. That said, Team PCB won, which was, shrug your shoulders, okay. Next night on Raw, Team Bella wins, shrug your shoulders, okay. What's the point of this? Are these matches leading anywhere? Is anything coming of this? What's the end game? What's the destination? Whatever. None of these questions have been answered, and that's going to be the main focus of the video this weekend. But got a lot to get through here, so we're going to move right along. Next match was Kevin Owens versus Cesaro. I thought it was very good. Just a good style, hard-hitting match. Just exciting, fun to watch. Kind of a Ring of Honor style match on a WWE pay-per-view. Very enjoyable. I'm glad Owens got the win. Both guys need a win, unfortunately, but, because both guys have been eating a lot of losses lately, but I think Owens has more of a future, if that makes any sense, has more potential as a character. Cesaro definitely deserves more, and if it were up to me, I probably would have had them in separate matches and then build... or better yet, if you're going to do this at SummerSlam, I wouldn't have had them losing so many matches before SummerSlam and just make it kind of like and this is where NXT's booking is so much better, is because a match like Samoa Joe and Baron Corbin is a lot more interesting on paper, at least in terms of its build-up, even with the decrease in talent, because they build up Baron Corbin as unbeatable, they build up Samoa Joe as unbeatable, you get to the TakeOver special, who's going to win? Cesaro and Owens, it's kind of like, like two 8-8 teams fighting each other because they've lost so many matches recently. But that said, they overcame that and made a pretty good match out of it. And Owens won, which I'm happy with. Hopefully he can get over the hump of the damage done by John Cena and the recent losses on NXT and just kind of move on and get bigger and better from there. He's fantastic. I mean, Kevin Owens, the little things he does to be such an asshole prick character is just so great that... he just works so well as a character. I hope they have a plan for him going forward. So, yeah, really enjoyed that. Then we got the main event. Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. As someone who was very critical of their WrestleMania 30 match, I have to say this match was a vast improvement over the WrestleMania 30 match. It had a big fight feel to it, and I think a lot of that is because Lesnar beat him the last time, so it actually felt like Lesnar was a threat, as opposed to WrestleMania 30, where nobody thought Lesnar was going to win. It was like, all right, Lesnar's the annual lunch meat being served to Undertaker, okay. But, now it's like, that complexion's changed, and this one had a big fight feel to it. And Undertaker, got thrown, he got ragdolled a little bit, and it was a lot more exciting and fun to watch. It was a much better match. And they did a lot of little things that worked, the dual set-up spot everybody's talking about and gift and meme the holy hell out of the next day. Just a lot of little things like that. It was overall a much better match than their WrestleMania 30 match. Until they got to the fucking finish, which is one of the laziest cop-out finishes I've ever seen. Okay, so many questions. I don't even know where to start. Okay, so if you've lived under a rock and you have not seen the finish to this match, I will explain it to you as best I can. Brock Lesnar has Undertaker in the Kimura lock. Referee is checking Lesnar's shoulders to see if they're down on the mat. While that's going on, Undertaker is tapping with the hand that the referee can't see. He's tapping out. Timekeeper prematurely rings the bell because he saw the tap out. Referee says no, 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 waves the bell off. Lesnar releases the hold thinking he won. And then in all the confusion, Undertaker low blows Lesnar and then locks in Hell's Gate and wins by forcing Lesnar to pass out. Now, what is wrong with this picture? First of all, my first question, my biggest fucking question, right off the bat, look at the positioning of the two men. And I've gone back and watched footage of it. And I don't see... Okay, I can see how the referee can't see Undertaker tapping out. That makes sense. How the fuck, with the positioning of Undertaker's body, how the fuck did the timekeeper see him tapping from where he was sitting? I would love to see a camera angle from his vantage point, because from what I could tell, there is no way he could have possibly seen Undertaker tapping out from where he was sitting. So that's number one. So the mechanics don't work. At least I could be wrong, but based on like the vantage points and what I'm looking at and the camera angle, I don't see how the timekeeper could possibly see Undertaker tapping out from where he was sitting. It's just I don't get it. I don't know. Second of all, this is like the biggest pussyfoot, weasel out, cop out way to get out of a match that I think I've ever seen. It was very WCW like bad WCW like in that aspect. They want to keep Lesnar strong. They want to keep him strong. They want to keep him a monster. But they don't want to have Undertaker lose again. So this is their bullshit way to concoct this. It's like, well, okay, we'll have Undertaker win, but he'll win cheap. So it protects Lesnar. And you just half-ass the whole thing. And I didn't like it. I didn't care for it. Like I said, mechanically, I don't see how it made sense. And storyline-wise, it's like, look, no one forced you to book this match. No one strong-armed you and said, we need Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar to happen again. This match could have never happened again, and I think people would have been fine. But really, and the comparison I've made in my mind, being a fan of the Universal Monster movies back in the day, the first big crossover they ever did was Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, where it's the Frankenstein monster and the Wolfman, Lawrence Talbot, coming back and having a big fight with each other. And the big climax of the movie is a big fucking fight. That type of thing sells tickets. It's two iconic monsters fighting each other. The problem is that, and it's a problem with a lot of big crossovers like that, but they don't want to have either one lose, so what they do is the house or the mansion or the lab or whatever that they're fighting in gets flooded in water and they both drown, and so they both die and they both lose. So you get out of it, you sell this movie on a big fucking fight between the two, but you don't want to have either one lose, so nobody wins and ultimately everybody's disappointed. You kind of have that same thing here where, alright, the Undertaker fans want him to get his win back. The Lesnar fans, like myself, want Lesnar to stay strong and stay unbeatable and just protect the monster image or whatever your reasoning is. Or maybe they just think Lesnar's cool and they want that mystique to be preserved. Whatever. Ultimately, everybody gets pissed off because, yeah, Undertaker gets his win back, but it's in a shitball way that makes him look like the fucking heel. Like, okay, I mean, they're healing up Taker on purpose, right? I mean, this isn't just me. I know I like to think outside the box of WWE's morality and how they want me to think, and I was one of the few arguing that Rusev is actually, when he was doing his big run with Lana as U.S. champion and everything, and I said he was the most noble character on the show, even though they wanted to paint him as this dastardly anti-American asshole. Yeah, okay, I get all that, but, and I understand I have that tendency to think outside the box of what they want, but, I mean, they've done so much between the low blows and the cheap win. I mean, are they, like, deliberately making Undertaker the heel here? I don't know, because they never straight up say it, and they make it sound like we're supposed to cheer for him, so whatever, I don't know. But, yeah, Man, and people are saying that Lesnar is the first one to ever tap out The Undertaker. That's not true. Kurt Angle was. I saw that match in 2002. A similarly stupid match ending, by the way, where Kurt Angle had Undertaker trapped in a triangle choke. And the referee is counting Angle's shoulders down, and just as the mat hits, just as the referee counts 3, Undertaker taps out. I'm like, all right, seriously, Taker, you couldn't hold out for 1 second, or even like half a second, and seriously, Angle, you didn't hear the referee counting 3, and you didn't roll your shoulder. It just made them both look stupid. But so no, Lesnar's not the first one to ever tap out Undertaker, official or not. And I think, didn't Punk tap him out with the Anaconda Vice once or something? I don't remember. But, yeah. So there's that. So it's like, yeah, it's this kind of like mishmash of like, oh yeah, they kept Lesnar a monster, but he still lost. And the first one to beat him was still Undertaker, which kind of makes the ending of the streak seem pointless now, because you give Lesnar the rub of ending the streak and all the credibility and all the heat that goes along with it, just to have the first guy beat him be Undertaker, but you can't repair the streak. The streak's dead. You can't fix it. So, it's just like, meh. It is what it is. I mean, it could have been worse. They didn't straight up destroy Lesnar, so I'm not, like, super upset by that. I just think it's like, look, you booked the match. Commit to it either way. And they didn't want to commit. They just kind of half-assed it and just went along with it. It really put a sour end to the pay-per-view. I felt like it was just, again, it was very WCW-like, or even, TNA at its worst, or something like that. And that type of stuff's not good. It just kind of like, yeah, they chickened out, basically. That's basically what that ending was. It was a total cop-out. But really put a damper on the show. But like I said, the match itself was better than their Mania 30 match, so I'll take it. But yeah, SummerSlam, you fix a couple things. It could probably be a great show, but instead it just kind of comes off as a solid show with a couple missed opportunities probably, but not a disaster of a show. I mean, I know after NXT, everybody was like, oh, SummerSlam's going to be a disaster. I didn't think it was a disaster, and I think there were a lot of really good things on it. Owens and Cesaro was really good. Cena and Rollins was very good. The four-way tag was good. The Stephen Amell match was good. So there were some good things on the show. It's just, the ending to the main event was really lame. Ziggler and Rusev was blah. Orton and Sheamus, my God, if I see that match again, I'm going to die. Various things like that. The Divas match didn't really work out well, so it's kind of I don't know, half and half, I guess. I don't know. But, I guess I could talk about Sting. I haven't mentioned that yet. He made his presence felt on Raw the next night and will be Seth Rollins' challenger at Night of Champions. Now, if you have watched my videos at all in the past, you know the first comment out of my mouth is going to be, Sting getting a title shot would make a lot more sense if he had actually beat Triple H at WrestleMania, but no, whatever. But I'm fine with it as long as Rollins goes. See, that's the thing, though. It's like, is Sting ever going to win a match in the WWE? Probably not at this point. I don't know. Because there's no way in fuck he's going to win the WWE title. I mean, there's no fucking way. And he's going to go 0-2 at WWE. His WWE run, is he really going to go 0-2? So I would have, can we give Sting, an establishing win first? Triple H at WrestleMania? And then give him the title shot? So it's, not a complete disappointment that Sting loses, and, people will actually think maybe he can beat Seth. Because as it is, it's like, well, he couldn't even beat Triple H, so how's he going to beat the young guy that's Triple H's heir apparent? There's... that's the story you told, WWE. I'm not making this shit up, but... we'll see how that all goes. So, yeah, some big returns on Raw between Ric Flair and the Dudley Boys and Sting. So, Raw was actually a pretty exciting show for the most part. Better than usual. I mean, it still felt long because the 3-hour format is really long. And the fans completely shit on the Divas match, which, again, that's going to be the main topic of my next video. So, I will get to that. But I believe that is enough for today's video. Like I said, SummerSlam was not a bad show. I did enjoy it. It was nowhere near TakeOver the night before. TakeOver, which, just so emotional and so great on so many levels. But, it was a nice big weekend for some big wrestling shows, and it was highly enjoyable, and I had a good time. So I can't ask for any more than that. But that is the end of this particular video. I will have another one up this weekend, so until then, I will see you all later.